where I'm at is John Wick is the ultimate plane ride movie.
John Wick is the ultimate plane movie.
And, you know, it was just,
I can see that.
I don't know why, because it's just like I can only really stand watching it on a plane where I'm like, because it's such a big, dumb boy movie.
Maybe because, I mean, the narrative wise, like the whole thing is just being like action packed. So maybe you're sitting on the plane and it's just like, it's just
The violence
easy
is
watching.
just extraordinary.
Yeah.
Like, and, you know, of course, got to be a gentleman about it. No killing on continental grounds.
No killing on continental grounds. I mean, I think they're bloody awesome because they are so stupid, but then they've put all the effort into like the stunts, the action. Like, we're just going to make it the best stunts and action that we can do. The story is going to be ridiculous and out of control, but we're going to make it like bloody sick.
Still need to watch number 4.
Yeah, I need to get on 4. My partner hates them, so I haven't been able to get number 4 in, but I need a night by myself where we can get into it.
It kind of won me back. I've seen. I'm not going to give away anything. I'm not like Kirk who spoils. I thought today when you brought up the fire temple, I was like, no more spoilers, Kirk. No more spoilers.
But can I say also on planes, does anyone else, I get like easily emotional when I'm on planes and like watching movies, like crying at like the dumbest shit or getting like really into it. What was the one I watched? Oh, The Fast and the Furious after
really emotional.
Walker had died, and I watched the movie because he died like at the end of filming it, and they have that whole like, it's been a long day without you, my friend, and I tell you all about it when I see you again.
I can't get the falsetto.
They had the scene, and they got his twin. He has a twin brother. So in the scenes where they're on the beach and he's leaving the crew to go and start his family, and they got his twin brother to play him in that scene, and all the cast are sitting on the beach watching him. And then they have that road scene where they pull up next to each other in the cars and then go off down the distant roads. A tear just going down my eyes. Right. And the people next to me, I got some like middle-aged woman on the left and some like overweight dude on the right, just watching me sob in the middle of my.
The last time I cried in the movie, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Why? Because it was so bad.
I'm just about done with you for today. But when Anakin is like, he gets his limbs chopped off, then he's on fire, and you're just like, oh, no. And then you see the Padme's funeral, and she's got that little trinket that he made her.
Yeah.
Is that the last time we see Anakin before the transformation?
Yep. The next time they rebuild
into Darth Vader.
But you know what? While we're on the topic, The Acolyte, the new Disney series on Star Wars. It's an abomination.
They're just milking it too hard. What's happening?
It's just, I don't know how they made something so bad. Yeah, the writing is terrible.
Yeah.
You know?
Obi-Wan wasn't terrible. I watched that.
Oh, no, that was saved by the awesome battle between him and Darth Vader in the last episode.
Yeah.
But before that, everything else, terrible.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, I mean, I'm not really in the Star Wars universe. I've always wanted to. Like, I've always, like, every time I'm like, yeah, lightsabers, this kind of stuff. I'll get into it. And then I watch it. I'm like, this is so dumb.
As a big time fan, nowadays, I suggest you don't get into it. Okay. The disappointment will be.
I've been trying to. That's our next kind of like binge watch. KP, she hasn't seen any movies, so we made it through all of Harry Potter, made it through Lord of the Rings, and now Star Wars is.
Currently putting my girlfriend through the Star Wars series.
So. Oh my God, Lord of the Rings! Talk about another snooze fest. Jesus Christ!
Oh yeah, we've talked about this. You hate Lord of the Rings.
Well,
yeah, exactly. On that note, it is another coffee break with the boys. We are fresh from Caleb Holstein coming through from Green Square, bringing so much heat and insight into the buying world and the green bean world.
Oh man, what a deep dive, and like trying to tap into all those kind of things as you do it. Like listening to all the facets of the business that he has to be like tapped into. I was like, I'm just overwhelmed listening to you, let alone trying to implement it.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like of all the episodes we've done, this is probably the one that maybe is the most educational for people in the sense that it's like, it's a very new program that's not really been done before, and he's implementing a lot. And so if you're a coffee professional working in roasting or sourcing or anything like that, you will have learned a lot. And even if you're someone who listened because you love the podcast, you know, you'll have learned something new about the industry. Like it's changing, evolving quite rapidly. And I learned a lot from my business as well. So it was awesome to have him on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think without...
I just need to cut in there.
Question here.
You won't believe what just happened.
What just happened?
A moped pulled a wheelie down the side of it. I don't think we got it on film, but
oh my God, we need to do the high saturation Joe Jonas
I know. I might have it in that corner. That was hilarious.
The other day we were out, we went to, the guys that were on went to Good Measure to get a Mont Blanc the other day, and we pulled up in the seat, and then just a bloody Uber delivery driver just cracks a wheelie, just got the food thing on the back, just doing a wheelie down Lygon Street.
We're talking
amazing.
Like full commit, like the whole way through. And it just happened again. I can't believe that just happened.
I could just laugh when I thought about that. It's just someone getting their like little noodle bowl delivered at the door and just like crap going everywhere. The bags just exploded.
What happened to my Nazi goring noodles?
Yeah, exactly. I'm so sorry for interjecting there. That just blew my mind.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about Caleb. We were talking about doing that. So with our coffee company, when we're doing it, we obviously sample, trial the coffees, but I've got like Jamie and other people like sourcing and doing all that. But I know from my side, I'm like, there's so many different places you can source from. So hard to know that you don't know with the prices going up and down what's happening. So as a side, I looked at it and I was like, if you can integrate that all to one place and make it kind of seamless in that experience, and also tracking it, like just figuring out, it's hard enough making money in a cafe and roastery world. So
I feel like given the way the market's changing, he's kind of done it at the perfect time. It's at a time where roasters are going to need that resource, and then he's just going to be like, well, hello.
Yeah.
It kind of made me like question, and I kind of said it as we finished. I had so many questions, but like that there is so much value on the relationships, right, between you and the growers and the farms and everything. It's kind of like, would they want to put, like, would you want to kind of give access to those relationships by getting them on a platform? You know what I mean? Like,
well, that was going to be one of my questions to him. I was like, and kind of ran out of time there. But the idea of there are so many sellers of coffee, like, is this marketplace going to allow just individual farms to have their stuff up there and more easily like accessible looking at that? Because I know as Golden Brown, where I get messages all the time just from these little farms in the middle of, nowhere who are like, we're selling coffee, please. Can you sample some? Can you try it? So I don't know. It's interesting looking at like the different scales of it as well.
Mm. Yeah, he's going to connect people in ways that it's not really been as possible before. And you think of things like Starlink, for example, how that's going to get people in remote areas of, Central South America connected to the internet, where they can sort of enter a marketplace like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
And, who knows how that changes things. And, you heard him talk about the European Union regulations and how that might kind of affect things, like the way he can integrate to that. Interesting space. And he's kind of like, given that, we sort of touched on it. I've known Caleb for a little while now. It's like he's such a go-getter. Yeah. Like, he's just always so wired. Like, he's that level of energy that he had here was probably like he's just always on the go. Like, he must drink 1,000 coffees a day.
Yeah. And you kind of have to be doing what he's doing. And like also he'd have to sell to so many people. Like I was intimidated by the amount of work that dude would have to be doing to get this thing off the ground. So good on him. But he's a nice guy, and you kind of see like those businesses where you getting different companies and businesses involved. The hell was that?
Pen. Don't worry about it.
Oh, God.
No, I was going to say he's so humble. So such a like. I threw the pen. Don't worry about it. Yeah, he just seemed so, for someone that's kind of crushing the game and is like on the precipice of like revolutionizing an entire industry, like literally, and connecting the dots between an entire supply chain with, he seems just so like
he's doing it from the humble little Central Coast as well. Little beach town.
As he's a big fan of. Shout out Central Coast.
Yeah, he did. He liked it.
To tell the amount of shout outs he has, the network is wide and he knows them all by name, it's rocking.
You know what I've been doing all day? I've just been running my tongue along the back of the teeth because I went to the dentist yesterday for the first time I didn't realize, I thought it was like a year and a half. They're like, you haven't been here in over 3 years. And I was like,
you probably had some calculus.
Oh God. And he goes, there's a fair bit of plaque build up there, which is expected from 3 years. So he gets out that drill thing and just right off at the gums, and that high pitch, just like a nerve being cut in half, just going at the back of my mouth. And it was just, when I had to rinse my mouth, the amount of blood was just,
oh man, gnarly.
It was like,
he got in there
hardcore. But now it just feels like a skeleton at the back of my mouth. I can just feel all the teeth like
Well, I'm getting rather educated on all those things because, as we all know, my girlfriend is a dentist in training.
Oh, there you go.
So she performs. So part of what they have to do is they have to go work in sort of clinics and stuff like that. Actually, perform work on patients. So she's removing teeth, putting crowns in and doing all sorts of stuff. Very interesting field. And
the good side of like what I did was they did like the X-ray because I hadn't been there in a while, and he's just like, your teeth are perfect apart from the little build up plaque we had to get rid of.
Good on you.
These are amazing. There's zero all the enamel's still there. There's no damage happening in there. He's like, great, you don't need to come in for another year and a half if you don't want.
I think we need to promote that actually doing the things, going to the dentist, going to the optometrist. I am guilty of that. I tend to, this classic boy thing to do where you just like...
I'm in there like 6 to 8 months. I'm getting that.
Oh, you're in. You're good as well.
Now I'm in my 30s. I'm like, got to get to the like doctor. But I also go into the doctor. I'm like... Yeah, check up. Like, should I go do blood test or this? And he's like, do you need to? I'm like, no, I'm asking you. And they're like, no, unless you're over 40, like you're fine. Don't worry about it. I'm like, no, blood test me.
Good on you. I was talking to someone at the gym and he was chatting about how a big advocate for mental health and men's health and everything. And I'll figure out what the company was, but it's a screening that is like a screening, gives you like a breakdown of like all your stats and everything in the best way though, because it's like, hey, like if you just get a targeted multivitamin for this and that, it can change your life, anyway, good on you.
But yeah, the dentist was like, you must take amazing care of your teeth. Like, I'm like, mate, I'm drinking coffee and wine and bloody...
I abuse these pegs.
I abuse everything that should be terrible for your teeth. So maybe just good genes, good teeth genes. Who knows?
It's a big part of it from what I understand, now that I am an expert. But back to the green square. I think he's, like we were saying, he's very much on the precipice of doing something big, and given the way the coffee market's evolving. And he was exactly right when he said spot coffee is becoming a thing of the past. It's not so much a situation now where you can go and just buy coffee off the shelf as a roaster. More people, essentially what he was saying, from more countries will be competing for the same amount of coffee, which, you can do the math there. That's going to drive up the price. So, emerging middle class in China and some other Asian countries, and just emerging amount of coffee drinkers in the future. It's going to drive things up.
Question: I'm an idiot. What's changed in China at the moment? Is it simply just the lines opening up? Because I've spoken to a few coffee manufacturers, like products and that, and they're like, in the last 2 years, China has become their number one buyer of like everything. So it feels like there's a huge espresso. Is it like a takeoff, or is it more so just that lines opening? Does anyone know? Well,
they've got the Luckin coffee, which is big. I'm not an expert on this, but I think there's a big theme in their leader, Xi Jinping, is always talking about the common prosperity of people. And so they've got this emerging middle class where, more people are getting more wealthy over there, and they just consume.
Yeah, there you go.
And you got a country of over 1 billion people, they consume things. And so espresso culture or coffee culture has been big in Australia now for a while. I think more people are just catching on to it. And this is why, there was some challenges related to it, but there's also never really been a more exciting time to be in coffee than now.
Yeah.
Because the amount of people consuming it is just expanding. The amount of people that just get into it, like, Jimmy Butlers of the world and more famous people opening coffee brands. And we've done a podcast on that as well. Like, coffee's just an emerging market.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on that same point, if you ever hear us just talking crap and you're just yelling at your phone going, you bloody idiots, it's actually because of this, just comment. Let us know. Yeah. We'd love to be educated on that side. That's my famous last words. I bet you give it 2 months with all the people just telling us how stupid we are and how we got things wrong in the comments. I'll be like, okay, enough. I don't care. Let me be wrong.
Yeah. Well, and also maybe you highlight this to us, we get an expert, correct it, and there we go. I don't know.
That's a great idea.
Who are some of the guests that we haven't talked about, or there's a certain topic that you want to talk about and we haven't done a podcast on it yet that you would like to get on? Because there's there's this book by a guy called Carl, he's a German guy, Weinsdorf or something. I can't remember his name, but it's called I'm going to have to Google this right now. Cheap Coffee. I think it's called Cheap Coffee Book. Yeah, well, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Cheap Coffee.
So talking about those sorts of things, because I saw on the back of our Best of Panama podcast that happened while you were away, I saw this meme that said, it was kind of like a meme that he had made where they were saying while everyone's debating infused coffees and stuff like that, farmers are trying to find where their next meal is, sort of thing. And I guess that's kind of like, as someone that sort of has a business that benefits off buying and selling coffee, and it's not like we make an enormous amount of money right now, but it's kind of the next step. Because if you've got this emerging amount of people drinking coffee, but there's a shrinking amount of people producing it, bit of a problem there, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's
it's Carl with a K, Carl Weinhold. The book is Cheap Coffee, Behind the Curtain of the Global Coffee Trade. So what's behind your morning cup of coffee?
Well, I want to get Carl Weinhold.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think a few of the ones I've been thinking about is friend of mine is owner and creator of Loon Patisserie. I think they have that kind of global outreach of, being known as, New York Times put them as the best croissant in the world and that kind of thing. So I think it'd be really interesting getting Kate on doing that. I think it'd be cool. I'd love to talk to you. Obviously, I spend so much time talking about like home baristas and that. So I think diving into that world a bit and getting some interesting people, whether it's like the CEO of Breville or the CMO of Breville or something like that, someone that's big in that kind of home scene, or even La Mazzocco, who obviously I've worked with, so that would be easy to kind of get in. I think that talking about the evolution of home coffee, and that would be something that's really cool. And you know what would be cool? Like, we obviously trash talk a lot of the big names and the big chains, and whether it's Starbucks or McDonald's, but maybe it'd be like, Australia invented McCafe. It sells the most coffees in Australia, or like Starbucks. It'd be cool getting somewhere from there and to like hear what it takes to run the most amount of cafes, selling the most amount of coffees, working on that scale. That could be pretty crazy. So maybe something like that.
I know someone who does a lot of the training for McCafe.
Oh,
I don't know if he would be able to come on and talk about that, but for
worth an email.
Yeah.
You want one of the big dogs up there where it's like they can't, all the NDAs and stuff. They can just go free reign and talk about whatever they want.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Can I ask, can we do a bit of a hot take review?
Yeah.
So my hot take today was about iced lattes being the same price. What are your thoughts on that immediately?
I 100% agree. I mean, from the outside, I think all these things that are harder when the consumer just looks at it and being like, why am I paying more for just ice being put in my drink? You're just literally dumping it in a cup.
Yeah, and one thing, we at our cafe, we don't charge more for alternative milk. So it's like a really, the person that really gets hit hard by that is the iced oat latte drinker or whatever. And if you get it large or, you make it mocha, then you're looking at like $8 Australian, which Australians aren't used to paying for an iced coffee.
But this is where I think there's a huge opportunity for one of the alternative milks out there to turn around and be like, we are going to sell our oat or whatever it is, or maybe they make one specific blend that's outside of the family where it's like the all equal oat or whatever it's called, where they're going to sell it at the industry average for dairy. And the whole point is to sell it at the same price, because it's crazy that, the little cafes are the ones that are paying more for the alternatives and, taking the price hit if they want to sell it for the same as dairy. Maybe the big alternative milk companies should be the ones raising their hand going, no, we're going to like cut our profit a little bit and we're going to make sure that people can pay the same amount so they can get alternatives.
But the thing is, that's such a competitive space. Like the alternative milk business, and I came from food service before I did what I'm doing now.
Doesn't that give them a way to stand out from the crowd then by going, we're going to sell ours cheaper to you for this one so that you can sell it at a better price?
Well, yeah, and there's some alternative milk producers in Australia or sellers in Australia that are cheaper than others, I guess you could say, but it's not actually the most profitable market. Like Because a cow continually reproduces milk. Like to get more almonds or something, you've got to really actually grow those almonds.
Not to be an idiot here, but like how much does it take to grow some oats? Like oats feel like that shouldn't be too difficult.
But it all requires water and...
Yeah, so cows aren't cows the most like uneconomical in terms of like water production to like have those fields of grass and everything? Like don't cows take a crazy amount of water to keep, going?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a crazy amount of water to make 1 liter of milk.
Well, here you go. Maybe we need to get someone from we're talking about hosts. Maybe we need to talk about the battle between dairy and alternative and like which is actually going to be the most sustainable, the most affordable to keep going. Because almonds, like I know for a fact almonds are crazy. They use so much water. It's like per like 1 almond, it's like 2 liters of water to grow that like 1 almond over time or something crazy. I don't know the exact things. Maybe a producer can look it up how much water it takes to grow 1 almond.
And you're fucking putting Liam through his paces today.
What do we have him here for? Not just to stand there and look pretty.
Oh, well.
But boy, does he look pretty.
He does. But if I'm having an iced drink, I'll have it on alternative. But if I'm having a hot latte, I'm having it on full cream.
Is that just for texture or?
I don't know. Just like, I've never been a dairy drinker. I'll only ever have dairy with a coffee.
Yep.
But if I'm having a iced latte, which I've gotten more and more into in the last few years.
Makes sense.
I actually don't mind almond or oat.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm a big fan of the of oat milk, of like a good oat milk. I reckon that's like the best we've done so far.
What are your favorite brands?
I like if we're doing almond, I like Milk Lab, and Milk Lab's new oat is good. But then is it Califia oat is pretty good.
About Califia.
I'm an Oatly guy.
Yeah, Oatly's good. Oatly's really good. Minor Figures is like an acquired taste. It's like a different thing. But here's my theory. I don't know if this is a hot take, but whatever alternative milk you like is probably just like the first one that was to market or whatever you're drinking. Because I feel like people just get used to whatever the flavor it is that they're used to. That's why you have all the over 30-year-olds drinking soy milk, because that's what they grew up on. But soy milk is trash. Soy milk is so gross. Like if you would never have tasted any alternative milk and you tasted soy, you'd be like, just get it off the table. It's terrible. But people are used to that flavor, so they want that more. And now you've seen Milk Lab came out with that almond, own the market, and they're the almond choice of like what you do. And then you're seeing that battle for the oat milk of coming in where everyone's trying to rush that and, get to it. And there's, what's the other one? Sanitarium owns it.
Alternative Dairy Co.
Yeah, Alternative Dairy Co.
The thing is, oat milk was so popular in Europe before like it sort of hit Australia, because I travelled to Sweden a few years ago. I think it was 2017, and it was big there. And then, 2 years later, it was big in Australia. So it's grown quite a lot.
I feel like, soy was sold as like the health alternative, and so you almost were like broccoli, like I'm having you overcome the obvious flavor pitfall. But with oat, I think it's actually quite like you get a bit of a balance, and it kind of speaks for itself.
I love hot chocolate, love it on oat milk.
Man, I agree.
Yeah,
and I'm with you. Like Califia is my fave. And it's good to texture too. It works well with the machines and stuff.
I'm probably doing myself out of a future hot take here, but like if you're making a hot chocolate sauce, it ain't it. You gotta put the powder in the milk and steam it. Otherwise, you're not.
She cooks. By the way, it takes around 1 US gallon per almond. So that is just under
almond.
So that's just under 4 liters.
For 1 almond.
Wow.
So that's why there was that outroar against almond milk, where it's like so unsustainable.
Yeah, it's insane.
In like doing it. So again, oat milk, another winner there. There's probably someone that's listening where it's like, yeah, well, oats are made from dead monkey blood, so that's bad for the planet too.
Yeah, we'll have someone comment on it. Try and come to you. Well,
nice. Oh, you go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I was just going to wrap it up. So
yeah, no, I was going to. Go on.
Great minds, beautiful boys, thinking alike. That wraps us up for another week of Coffee Break. Liam, have you got a little outro for us? Have you got anything? Where can the people find us? When can they?
You can find us on all socials. This is It's Just Coffee. And you can email us at hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com with all your queries, all your things, all your lists.
Hot takes.
Your hot takes now. Yeah, give us both. I love them. So we're going to go, I reckon, a fishbowl for your emails, and then we'll go videos. Make it short. Make it PG.
I don't know if I should say this, but you know the sauciest part about having this podcast? We're now getting to the point where the old private DMs are coming in, where we're getting all the inside goss from all the inside industry knowledge. So we're learning a lot of stuff here, where it's stuff that can be said on the pod and stuff that cannot. But it's good to be that resource, hear what's really happening out there.
Look, Lord
Varys, Master of Whisperers.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
For everyone there, I got really close to the microphone and spoke quite softly just to really emphasize the point.
It was mysterious.
Yeah, so now I think we should just finish off the pod by all talking like this.
Sounds good.
Thank you for listening. Coffee break. Find us wherever Liam said that sounds good. I mean, it's just coffee. Just coffee.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
You've ruined it. You're supposed to say it's just coffee.